now rocking with TDF everything. Spoiled rotten.
Spoiler alert.
Welcome and welcome back, everybody.
Hey.
It's me, Daniel,
And this is Ben.
on Spoiled Rotten. And today, we are going to be spoiling Thunderbolts with an asterisk.
I was going to say, I like the fact that you put it into the meeting headline and then also, brought up here.
It's the name
It's
of
great.
the movie.
It's the details, man. It's the details that matter.
Thunderbolts with an asterisk.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll let you go first. How'd you feel overall?
Ooh, I enjoyed this. It was good. It kept me going for the ride. I felt that some characters were better written than others, and I'm just like, wait, really? That was a decision that they made to just, okay, interesting.
I'm gonna be honest, I loved it. I thought
Yeah.
I was all in. I think I knew going in how bad could this be. It's a movie starring Yelena, specifically. I know it's Florence Pugh, but like I'm more of a Yelena fan than a Florence Pugh fan.
Sure.
And yeah, they delivered on that element. And I'll get it out of the way. I genuinely liked Red Guardian in this movie. I thought he was going to be way more annoying. And
Yeah.
no, I just like him in this movie. I can't help it.
Yeah, I like him in this movie. We've talked about it before, how he could be a bit much sometimes.
Mhm.
It's perfectly balanced within the giant mix, which is what I like about it. But I think the reason why is because I had the ability to hate John Walker more. And I'm like, direct that energy towards not saying that I hated what he did and all that kind of stuff, because I actually like this what they made him go through.
Mhm.
But it's the idea of like, yeah, just like this guy in general, because he's a bum and he's an asshole.
Yeah.
And he's acting like an asshole. So I could be allowed to hate him while being like, yeah, you are alleviating tension right now.
Yeah. So I guess if anyone is listening to this who hasn't watched the movie, it is pretty. I like this. I'm not saying this to diminish it. It's pretty straightforward. It happens pretty much overnight and into the next day, which is Val, as played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, is like, yeah, I'm being put on trial by some statesmen, and I need to basically clean up all of my wrongdoings. And she has I mean, it should have worked out realistically. She puts together a plan where it's like, I'm just gonna kill off all the people who've been doing black ops for me.
Yeah, it's a solid plan.
And that's like what you see in the trailer, where they're like, wait, you're here, and really the movie stays in that bunker for a long time, in and around that bunker for a long time, and then they move to New York. It is
Act again, 2 is the bunker.
I'm not saying this to diminish the movie. I like that it's focused. It's not trying to get too much accomplished, because I think what the movie is tackling, to me, depression and suicidal ideations, I think that is a heavy thing. So keeping it light on plot was a smart idea. But yeah, I loved the movie. I thought it was really well done. And I guess I saw some people really didn't like it, and I can only assume they're Taskmaster fans. And I was just like, yeah, I don't care about Taskmaster.
So I don't care about Taskmaster. My reason for having a slight on this movie is because of Taskmaster, but because it's the idea of like, oh, so y'all have already figured out what's going on, and Ghost is still going to do this, and then everyone's going to be okay with Ghost being on the team, like not being like, okay, we totally trust you, kind of deal.
She didn't know what was going on. She killed her, and that was what made them be like, fuck, you're serious about this? And then she even shows regret after, being like, oh, the person I killed, like that was not part of it. She wasn't like, oh, I know that.
Did they not figure it out before?
No, they hadn't fully put it together. She was like, I have an assignment, and then finished it, and they were like, fuck, man, I can't believe you genuinely went through with that. And that's when they had the break to talk it out.
Okay, then my thing is wrong, because I had the pacing wrong in my head trying to remember all of this movie, because I was just like so otherwise in love with this movie
Mhm.
because this movie was really good.
I think it's a really well written movie.
Yeah.
I obviously we talk about. Uh, I'm not saying it's the same as Black Panther, but the attention to detail given to villains. I mean, when I say villain in this case, I mean Bob
Mhm.
Sentry the Void. Um, that his journey is our protagonist's journey, and
Mhm.
that to me, what I liked about it, it's kind of what I liked about um, Captain America: Brave New World as well, is that like the main showdown is our hero trying to fix something as opposed to take it apart. So
Yes.
like in the Captain America movie earlier this year, I liked that it wasn't Captain America going after the Japanese. It was like I need to
Mhm.
fix this situation internally, metaphorically, and I'm
Mhm.
going to take apart the American war machine.
Mhm.
Um, and in this movie, all of these characters who are dealing with depression and doubt throughout are showing love to Bob the way they obviously want to be shown love. And
Mhm.
so it's about healing him as opposed to shutting him down and putting him in jail and actually
Mhm.
trying to fix the problem,
Mhm.
which went along with way with me. I really loved
Mhm.
that element of the movie.
Mhm.
That obvious, like I guess everyone already went into it being like, how are they going to beat the Sentry? And so to me, it was kind of like, like I think we know how, but
Yeah.
the movie still for me sticks the landing of being like they're going to just love him and be there
Mhm.
for him.
Yeah. And I like that the movie actually goes out of its way to be like, hey, th- we know that they can't outpower him.
Mm-hmm.
Like even Sentry himself says, like, wait, like, why is a god listening to you? Kind of
Well, because
deal.
he says
And
like she's like kill them. He's like, but I don't need to. Like they're
yeah.
not a threat.
Mhm. And he just goes into the whole I'm a god thing and all the kind of stuff, and they just prove like, yeah, you can't take him out of that. You can just love him out of that because that's
Yeah.
like obviously for those that don't understand the bipolarness of it, it's the manicness of
Mm-hmm.
that
And
where he
which he
feels
talks about.
invincible. Yeah.
Yeah, he talks about
Uh,
it before he
mhm,
had the thing. He's like, there's
mhm,
gonna be highs, but then there's really low lows,
yeah.
and they already said that he had delusions of grandeur before he took on the thing, and I think
Mhm.
even Mel, Val's uh, sidekick is a bad way to put it. Her assistant was like,
Mel.
I mean, yeah, she's just like, I don't like. You give Steve Rogers a serum like this, obviously he's going to turn into Captain America. I don't know about this Bob Reynolds thing. Like that's a bad idea.
She is the conscious throughout the entire movie, and it's just one of those things where it's just like you could see how it's just like having those kind of voices in the room doesn't matter as long as the person in charge making decisions is purposely ignoring them.
Hmm.
It's which is exactly what she's doing because she manipulates her way through the entire movie, and it's actually quite clever how she does it. Like when she actually pulled out that stunt at the end, I was like, "Oh, you clever son of a you got me there. Didn't realize you were baiting us all into that reveal. That's
Hmm.
fun.
Yeah, I think obviously the real villain is Val in the
Yes.
movie, but it the person they have to fight is Sentry. So I appreciated that element,
Mhm.
and or even the fact that when Val makes her reveal at the end, um, Yelena's smart enough to be like, well, we own you now.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
sure, sure, but we own you now. And I like how Julia Louis Dreyfus plays that moment of like, I'm not gonna say anything, but I guess I didn't think this through.
Yeah. There's some consequences to your actions.
But yeah, I think the team here, we already kind of mentioned it, but the team here is Yelena, Ghost, U.S. Agent, and
Red Guardian
yeah,
and
and Taskmaster's there at the beginning.
is there. Yes.
Is there at the beginning, and she gets killed. I think a lot of people probably gleaned that from marketing, but also
Yeah.
when they did the chairs and everyone from the cast but her was there. It was like,
There
oh, okay, so she's
was
gonna die.
yeah.
But
There's a lot of speculation about that. So yeah.
I think what helped put it back into perspective for me was a lot of people who actually read Thunderbolt comics like it's not the Suicide Squad. Don't go
It's
into
not.
this being like who's gonna
Yeah.
die. It's the movie, and I think this movie does it. It's about bad guys realizing, oh, I like being the good guy.
Hmm.
I want to
Hmm.
be the good. Like, yeah, I was doing this before just to get over, but like, I like doing this. So you can't have it be that they keep getting killed off. Like,
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
not the point of it.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously, killing them, I think, gives Ghost that extra bit that because they don't really. We already know her backstory. We got a movie with her.
Hmm.
And obviously, these are all characters that we've had backstories with, but
Hmm.
to her, to that point, you're not going to do like a Bob holding her hand thing because what is it going to? It's just going to show her in the that machine that she was in her whole life. Like
Hmm.
she doesn't have experience out of that. So like I like that it was just like her thing of like, yeah, I'm so eager to not be in that machine that I messed up and killed a potential ally or
Hmm.
like someone that my new friend Yelena knew. And I like that exchange that she's like, so that woman I killed, like you knew her, and she's like, yeah, she was someone who did shitty things and then got an ending, like we're all gonna get.
Yeah.
Um, and I will admit, like that's not as fleshed out, but it's there, and I like that little flavor because I
Hmm.
do see it as a Yelena movie overall.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like it's properly explored through Yelena in that sense where she would just be like, hey, move on and all this kind of
Hmm.
stuff, even to the point of like what she does at the beginning of this movie. And this is what I think is really interesting with the coding of this movie is like if it is about mental health, and I'm like, yeah, that's if I know Taskmaster gets killed, but if suicide, that darkness in this, because she starts with jumping off the building, all this kind of stuff. There is that element of like, okay, well, this is where your story ends
Hmm.
as a message through this whole movie, right? And just like, yes, um, but it's rough to really actually explore this. And I'm actually really nerding out about the psychological aspect
Hmm.
about it in that sense. And I think they did a really, really great job with especially all the characters, and it makes sense. And
I do.
because
I agree.
you come into it knowing it's not a Suicide Squad. They didn't get put together, they came together and had a common task to fulfill. And I think it's clever that they kept the time frame short to be able to explore those moments a lot more through this whole movie. And it adds like a wildness to it, especially putting the limo very appropriately within that kind of setting. But it's just one of those things where okay, that is the thing that unites them all is the depression, the isolation, and all that kind of stuff, and how they fix it all is really, really cleverly done throughout this
Yeah,
whole.
I think we also forgot Bucky is a major part of the team. I
Yes,
completely just whiffed on that. But yeah, I
he just wasn't a
in
part of the initial "you try to kill each other" thing. That's
no,
all. He
he
comes
came
into it
into it because
later.
he's like, oh, I need to put Val away.
Yeah, I'm a
And so
part of this
yeah.
movement.
So to your point of like this is kind of where your story ends. The first time Bob does his hand trick, it's to Yelena, and you
Yeah.
see that really fucked up thing where she led her friend out to get. I know they're part of the Red Room, and friend is
Hmm.
a hard thing to qualify in that
Hmm.
setting, but I feel like for those scenes to make sense, it needs to be someone she thought of as a friend, even in that situation, and
Yes.
not just a random girl that was part of the class. I feel like it has to be like someone she thought trusted her, and
Hmm.
then she led them to their death. She's already been like blown up, so she's kind of. But he does it to, and he does it maliciously to U.S. Agent
Hmm.
Walker. And when Walker breaks out of it, he's about to jump into back into technically the void and kill
Hmm.
himself. And
Hmm.
I'm just like, yeah, like that was really interesting stuff they did with Sentry. I felt like just having him
Hmm.
like, especially the hate he had for U.S. Agent,
Hmm.
and you could probably be like reminds him of his dad, like how he's like, you just keep riding me this whole time. He's been a
Hmm.
dick to me the whole time, and um, yeah, that he was like, I'm gonna kill you. You're gonna like relive your like most shameful. Everyone he touches in the movie relives their most shameful moment,
Hmm.
and it obviously leads to him killing. And Val, I guess, is just really strong because he doesn't get her to try and kill herself, but she does like he breaks her when he does it to her, and her big thing is she unwittingly led her dad to his death when she
Hmm.
just was like, "Oh, I just thought that was your friend," and the guy was like, "No, your
Hmm.
dad's trying to like make moves in my area, I'm gonna kill him.
Mhm.
Which was great. Just the way she was like, Anna, can you excuse me, please? And just the way he was like, hey, no, I can control it.
Mhm.
Because I love that he was constantly playing. I know in the comics he genuinely doesn't remember the stuff. So
Mhm.
that I think that gets confused in the movie
Mhm.
as him pretending like he doesn't know what's going on. But it is in the comics he just genuinely doesn't remember. But
Mhm.
I like that he was pretending to not know about the powers for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that in that moment he's like, no, don't leave. I know how to control that. That didn't happen by mistake. I can do that.
Mhm. That's
I can
yeah.
be helpful to you. I can do this.
It was wild when he did that. I was like, oh wow, that was very, 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 very wild to see it switch to that kind of power and all that kind of
Hmm.
stuff. It was crazy. It was crazy to see.
And yeah, so she's got this pressure on her of them, like she guess she's works for Ox, or she was basically Ox Corporation.
Mhm.
um and Wendell Pierce, I don't remember what his character's name is, but Wendell Pierce is like, I
Mhm.
got you. I'm gonna I don't even really know what
The
he kept saying read the packets. I'm like, what are they gonna do? Because Bucky was even like,
yeah,
I don't know, this is just a bunch of information.
it's just
But he's, as we all know, like he was a statesman as well, and
yeah,
kind of
he's
was
congressman.
like, I don't want to do
Yeah,
this anymore. No, I need to fight people. This is
yeah.
not for me. Um, and he's like, oh, I'll just get those assets she tried to kill. And so he does. And then he's like, now you're going to testify against her. So that's how he becomes part of it.
Mhm.
Also, Thunderbolts, not like in the comics, is just Yelena's and I'm assuming Natasha's soccer team.
Yeah, I'm assuming as well. That was very, very clever. Very, very
Yeah.
clever.
I think
And
it was the best way to do it because even in the comics, it doesn't have anything to do with Thunderbolt Ross.
yeah,
So I think it's just easier to be like, it's her soccer team.
yeah, it was a
That's it.
gag and all that kind of stuff. Because
Because I
even
feel like any
like
other try to explain it, people be like, but isn't there like already a Thunderbolt Ross? Just making it be like, nah, it's her soccer team. Don't worry about it. I
yeah,
thought was
yeah.
a good way to just move it along.
Yeah, because like even like so here's a one little thing that like I noticed that was really really well done by Val or like Julia Louis Dreyfus is like when they actually call themselves the Thunderbolts in front of her, she's like what is like and then they explain the Pee-wee story and then she's like oh so it's like legit got nothing to do. It's like he's like not making moves
Hmm.
in prison to actually like
Yeah,
move these people around or anything like that. But yeah, that it's really really clever how they played that up throughout the whole movie, and
I
then the
like that.
grand reveal at the end.
Um,
You know,
but yeah, so I would say there was a bunch of times where I found it to be tense. The first one being when they had to climb
very
out of the
tense
tower.
movie.
I was just like, fuck, like I know that they're
Yeah,
not
that
going to
was
die. That
funny.
wasn't part of it for me. It really was just me being, how are they going to get out of this? Because I know they're not dying. Like I
Right.
know none of these characters are going to die. So it really was just like, what are they going to do? I genuinely don't know how they're going to get out of this. And
Mhm.
it was still they played the fear of it really well too. So I got caught up in it.
I did.
I
Yeah.
really liked that scene.
Mhm.
Um, I did like when it was like the first time they trusted Ghost, she was like, I'm gonna leave, but then she's like, I had to come back or else I wasn't gonna be able to open anything. But then the
Yeah.
second time she's like, no, I'm coming back. Like I'm gonna help. Don't worry. Um, I really, yeah, I just liked how they kept getting on uh US agent and that his
Mhm.
shameful moment is the scene from the trailer that I'm pretty sure I brought up was like him. Oh, we did this off mic, but just being like
Mhm.
not paying attention to his kid
Yeah.
and only caring
Neglecting
about
his
how he
kid. Yeah.
looked and like that shitty thing he did was like, well, if you don't like the way I'm looking after him, you do it. I was like, oh my goodness, what a
Yeah.
shit person. And I'm glad that the movie wasn't like, no, he's better now. It was just like, well, his wife and
No,
kid left him, so
and there's no
he can.
update on that. He's just
But
that's as
I
much as
like that
we
it was
know,
just like,
and I like that.
yeah, I like that it wasn't like, oh, he's gonna get them back. It's like, I
Yeah.
guess this is the only way he can operate, and we can feel better knowing that his kid is not gonna have to grow up with his neglect.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I really like that. I especially at the end. I know she basically apologizes for it, but I love that when they first get beat up by Sentry and they just like I've never seen that in a movie where they're just like, let's just run away from this. Like this is bad. Like no, we lost. Let's just
Hmm.
leave. And they're like, and she's like shitting on everyone. And then she turns to US agent. She's like, is it my turn? She's like, no, you know you're trash, and so does your family. I was like, fuck. Way to go, Yelena.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Because
was
Bucky lets it slip. Because the whole time he's not letting anyone know that his wife and kid left him.
mhm,
And Bucky just lets it slip to be like, "Hey, John, like I'm sorry, I know your wife left you and
mhm.
took your kid." And I was like, oh, "Come on, Bucky." He had a thing going.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
the only respect he had with them is that he had a wife and kid.
Yeah, he was still pretending. You
Yeah.
broke his mirage.
But yeah, I like that. I really like the sentry fight when they go into the void. Um,
Yeah, that was
and Bucky
good.
gets there, and she's like, "It fucking sucks in here," and he's just like, "Well, I have a great past, so this has been great for me. No problem at all."
Yeah. Yep, yep, yep.
Um, because again, we don't need to see that. Like we got Falcon and Winter Soldier to see like
Yeah.
what would mess him up.
No, it was smart that we didn't go into each and every character's shame room and they just stuck with Yelena's because it would have been too much and it would have like had some really poor pacing towards a otherwise very tight movie,
Mm-hmm.
I think. Because the runtime was like it wasn't short. It was a 2 hour movie, right? And it feels like a 90-minute movie because it moves so fast. And I do love that about it. It's really, really good in that sense.
Yeah, I think it moves really well.
Mhm.
Um, Red Guardian, I guess they're playing the whole he didn't know what to say when it was confirmed that Natasha was dead, so he didn't really reach out to Yelena.
Yeah.
But gotta say, I almost cried during their speech at the end. I know it's in the trailers, but the way it actually plays out, I was like
Yeah.
very touched. Um,
Yeah.
Again, it's just good use of setting up your themes and then having your characters actually engage with those themes and um seems simple, but just the fact that it's a bunch of lone wolves being forced to be like, you know what, I probably wouldn't be so sad if I was not alone. And Yelena
Mhm.
knowing that at the beginning of the movie, being like, I want people to like me and I want to be like front facing so that people will like the things I do.
Mhm.
Um, but then I think she even tells Bob like it's not gonna make things like all the way better, but it will make things lighter. And I know because
Mhm.
it just tonight has made things lighter for me because we're actually working together.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I just really enjoyed the movie sticking to its guns and really like exploring this with the
Mhm.
characters. And I think that a lot of the best Marvel movies do that anyway. It's just
Mhm.
we're in a period of time where people like to pretend like no Marvel movie has ever done that. So
Mhm.
I like that this movie is an example of that.
Mhm. Mhm. I one of the biggest things I liked about this movie is that it did bring together a lot of people that you otherwise would have forgotten about. And it's just like, oh, that yeah, you remember, yeah, that villain technically is still alive, or
Hmm.
the antagonist of that movie is still alive. Like it's what are they up to? They're not qualified to teach Spanish somewhere, you know what I mean, at a community
Right.
college. So it's just like, what are they doing? And it's interesting to find a way to make us care about people when they're together like this, as
Hmm.
opposed to off in their own thing. And it's not because they're not portrayed any better in the sense where they're constantly bringing up their shit
Hmm.
and they're not giving you many redeeming factors in the sense where Red Guardian's approach is just to dismiss and to, and to ignore and to like, oh, like be oh, look at this shiny thing and let's be bigger than
Hmm.
this and pretend, right? So I like that they all represented these aspects of a very dark theme
Hmm.
and had a language to communicate throughout that whole thing. And it's just like, right, this is the shining redeeming thing that they're bringing back is that
Yeah.
they're all just dysfunctional for a reason. And they're just trying to get to the next day. And I
Hmm.
like how it was very realistic about that, and it wasn't about let's cure him. It was about
That's a
let's
that's such a good
just
way of
support
putting
each
it.
other.
Like, just
Hmm.
get to the next day because
Hmm.
it literally is just about them trying to get to the next day.
Yeah.
It's not like it isn't metaphorically just take it day by day. It's literally like, okay,
Hmm.
today this happened and now we need to like make it out alive.
Hmm.
Um which is why I feel like it's such a well written movie because like I feel like
Yeah.
any part you try to pick apart you realize it's feeding into that
Hmm.
theme. Uh Another part before we talk about Bob because I really like the character.
Hmm.
Uh one moment that really got me was when Red Guardian saves that kid by letting the building piece fall on him, and I was like, I feel like that kid's gonna get fucked up somehow anyway. And then she just
Yeah.
snapped. I was like, oh fuck, I forgot he could do that thing. Like, I just thought it was really well paced and directed for me to be like, no, something bad's gonna happen because they didn't just move on. But oh, there it is. That's the terrible thing. It really got my audience too. But I was just like that was really well done for me. It was just the moment of like, yeah, he didn't let her get crushed, but something's gonna happen. And then before I could finish my thought, she evaporated, and I was just like, oh, that was grim, real grim. Like, it also let me know then obviously everyone's coming back, but it was just like in the moment, like, oh, really well done, which I
Yeah.
think is the good thing about the movie is that it at least kept me present. I wasn't constantly being like, nah, well, this is gonna. I was just like, oh, like, what is gonna happen? Like, what's happening right now? Like, what are we gonna do? Um, so yeah, I really like that. But I think the other big thing is I really liked Bob as a character. I wasn't really sure how they were going to work Bob and Sentry and the Void into this movie, and I feel like it was perfectly done.
Yeah.
I had no notes on that really.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just the way it's so great to make the movie all about him before they even make it his introduction and into the movie. It's like, hey, this is about depression and like mood swings and mental health stuff, and that is Sentry's character with powers. And it's just it's terrifying.
Like the way it broke my heart that he says it a couple times, but the first time
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, I always make things worse. It
Yeah.
was that doubt that he had.
Mhm.
I also like that the main things I know about Sentry and the Void are still present in this movie, even if they don't play out the way some comic fans would like them to. They're still there, and
Yeah.
like they kept his meth addiction. They kept a lot of stuff. It just gets parsed out differently.
Yeah.
But I
They
think
do say the words about it.
he said,
That's
I'm a
what I
meth.
was.
He was like, I was a
Yeah.
meth addict and I twirled chicken. And then
Yeah.
later, when you see it and Bucky knocks out him as a chicken, he's like, I was on meth. Like, I was just like, yeah, man, like they're going for it.
Yeah, yeah, it's wild to actually see them embrace it like full on, and I'm like, they're not walking around this. This is great. I loved
Yeah,
it. It was
yeah,
great.
yeah. I think this was the first movie that got to be completed outside of whatever regime people weren't enjoying that had taken. That's the
Sure.
Bob Chapek regime or whatever. I think
Is
this is back
right.
to I think this is back to Bob Iger times now.
Sure.
I'm not saying that to be like these are great people. I'm just saying there was it's the Bobs, and there was
Right.
a Bob that was just really shitty about everything, and Bob, and they had to be like, oh, we need Bob Iger back. So I think
Right.
this is one of the first movies that's like, well, for certain, Brave New World was under the Chapek style of making the movies. That whole like, just make it 2 hours and let's get out of here, or under 2 hours if you can, and let's get out of here. So I think that also helps because this feels like also it's a show that took me a while to warm up to, but then I ended up really loving it. Like one of the writers on this wrote on BoJack Horseman, which is
Okay.
also about this stuff. So I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense that
Yeah.
that this person would be there. And I know the writer for Beef, because this is one of the directors on Beef. The writer for Beef did rewrites like heavy.
Yeah.
It was to pull focus from Yelena and Red Guardian. So I wonder what this was like before, because it feels pretty heavily focused on them anyway. But he pulled focus from them so that it could feel more team like. But also that show is about like not seeing the light and just giving into the depression and darkness.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that you brought up Beef because I knew that the editor of Beef edited this movie.
And it was
And all
supposed
that
to
kind
be
of stuff.
Stephen Yeun.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Stephen Yeun. So there was a lot of like Beef production people that was supposed to be through this production as
I
well. And I'm like, they really did a good job with this movie. Not sure how I would feel if Stephen Yeun was gonna be Bob, to
I
be
was just
perfectly
gonna bring
honest.
I was just gonna bring that up. I
Be-
think Lewis Pullman has the what's the word for it, on camera um frailty is not the word I want to use, but he's just like he feels more like someone who needs to be protected.
Yes.
than Steven Yeun. Like
Hmm.
I think sometimes people like Sentry is just Superman when they don't know him, and I feel like Steven Yeun is like the Superman version of that. I just find him to be very vulnerable is the word I was looking for earlier.
Hmm.
Um, and I think there's a vulnerability in his voice when you see him when you hear him in Invincible,
Uh-huh.
and I don't. I'm not saying he can't get there, but I'm so used to him not doing that that I don't have a good frame of mind of how he was going to do Bob if he was
Right.
doing it.
So I think the best reference point would be like season one of Walking Dead would be probably how he would play it in that sense where he's got that same kind of I would use the word timid in his portrayal of persona. I agree with you in the sense where I'm like I don't believe Stephen Yoon be able to play that at his stage in his career.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he would do a bad job at it. I'm just saying, like, I believe the youth of Lewis Pullman a lot more than Stephen Yoon in the sense where it's like, okay, yeah, I can see why there's still that, you know,
Yeah, I think
his timidness there portrayed throughout it, and it's genuine and through. But like with Stephen, it's like it would be weird to pull him back to that point, if that's where he was going to
I
go.
guess that's why I said the Superman thing because to
Hmm.
me, season one is just like Clark Kent. Not it's not what Bill Pullman or sorry Lewis Pullman's doing in this,
Right.
like at all. It's just a nice guy who's
Hmm.
not as strong as everybody else. This is
Hmm.
something way different. This is like a self-loathing that, if you're going that lane, feels like it would be closer to the beef stuff, given like
Hmm.
who's around this project. And I don't think
True.
that's the right tone you want
Hmm.
for this.
Yeah.
Um, but who knows? It doesn't matter. It frees him up to be someone else in the MCU because I know he wants to kind of do something at some point in the MCU. But
Yeah.
I think for whatever reason, yeah, like to me, I was just like, especially when you get into the family dynamics, I'm like, it just feels like this had to be a white guy. But also, I'd like Lewis Pullman. Like he just feels like he completely brought this together.
I don't know. It's very much like, and that's where I appreciate. Like, I don't think it needs to be a white guy in this, in the sense where I could very much see an Asian family dynamic being exactly that as well. You know what I mean? So it's that it, I don't think that race would played a part into this casting whatsoever. All that kind of stuff, and
I think it does
but
because what she's trying to do is create an Ubermensch. So
but
that goes a long way.
here,
And they
no,
made a
here's the
point of
thing
having
though.
Val being like, and this is the look, the blonde hair. Like I think it
Sure,
does
but
matter.
I disagree in the sense where
Well,
even
let
Mel
me ask
brings it
this:
up
would
in
you have
no,
like a South Asian person doing it or a Black person doing it?
it's no, it's Mel going at the first going like, hey, this is the test batch. This wasn't supposed to be the person. So no matter what, they were gonna succeed. Like this was just a test batch, like Mel said. And
Val, yeah.
no, Mel, the assistant. Because it was
But
Mel reminding Val
Mel
of
says
what
that, but
happened.
Val's understanding was like no one was coming out of it. That wasn't Mel's understanding. She was just like, no, it worked. Val was the one that was
She
like,
understood it as no, nothing came out of it, yes, but it
because
was
that she
Mel
thought
that
that
was
was.
like this. It wasn't marketed that way,
So
so
the importance of me saying that is that we're talking about Val's plan overall,
right.
and so it is important that Val didn't think anyone was coming out of it.
Um,
Regardless of who says it out loud, it is important that she wasn't thinking about that until she saw who it was and what she could pivot to.
right, and fair enough in that sense that she was able to jump on top of the opportunity of it for sure. It was written as if she would have done the same thing with Stephen Yeun. That's why I'm like, I don't think race plays a difference in that experience flashback part of it side of things where I'm like, no, I can see that definitely playing out for
I
the
understand
original.
the family
Yeah.
dynamic, but I think overall the character,
Mm.
um, and what it represents to Val. So I will give you that. Yeah, that doesn't have to be a white family dynamic, but
But
I think
see,
what she is trying to pull off,
uh-huh.
it does matter who it is.
Yes, and that's where I feel like race would matter a little bit more in the sense where if it was Stephen Yoon, it would make more sense that Val would have that added sense of entitlement of like, no, I can control him because it's just an Asian guy and all that kind of stuff
Hmm.
too. So I'd be like, no, that's where I could be like, yeah, that would have been a good. Oh yeah, this is a good. They casted Stephen Yoon for a moment that I picked up on, but probably nobody else did in that sense where it's just like, yeah, that's a race thing too added in there, but that's why I think they approached it as in like, hell yeah, you're just a useless like drug addict beforehand. I found you and all this kind of stuff. It's I mean, she would have done any angle to be manipulative, to be perfectly honest with you. She is that person. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that there was a dynamic there that was used by like that was with race. To be perfectly honest,
Well,
they,
because it's a white guy, right?
yeah,
So
hmm
we can't really speak on it because
hmm
part of the benefit of being white is you don't have to worry about those dynamics.
yeah,
But what is clear is we are in a world where they just had a big debate about a black Captain America,
yeah,
and we know that her intention is to erase the idea of having the Avengers and just have the one guy that you have, and she's going
yes,
to sell that to that world.
hmm
So him being white is important.
yes,
Him being
as the
white
end
does,
product. No, but
yes,
that's what I mean as the end product of what Century is marketed and what the overall
yeah,
plan was. This plan here was this was a test batch. He wasn't supposed to survive, and that's why I say that race doesn't matter, is because
well, I
now
guess
even reminds us like, hey, this we were burning it, this didn't all this kind of stuff, but we can jump on top of it, and I
but we're
can dye
talking
your
about the
hair
movie where
blonde
he
and all
did
that.
survive, and that was the plan. Was that
Yeah.
what she was going to do? So that
No, that's what I
did
mean. She
factor
was
in.
able to
Yeah,
jump on top of opportunity.
yeah.
But in the sense where I'm just saying, like, from I'm glad kind of that Stephen Yeun wasn't in this role in the sense where I'm like, I would have felt like it would have brought back to that moment in his career. And I'm like, no, I think he's beyond that now. And that's why I wouldn't believe the whole whatever Pullman's doing, which is,
I
I
think
think,
you're
much
right to bring
better.
up his youth.
Mhm,
Um, he plays younger. I'm sure he
mhm.
is actually just
He,
younger.
yeah,
Um,
at this
and
stage, he is for sure.
and yeah, you're calling it timidness. I'm calling it vulnerability. I think there's
Mhm,
just he makes the role completely his own. To the point
mhm.
where I'm like, yeah, I don't know who else would have played this. It's
Yeah.
like I don't even really know Lewis Pullman like that. Like I know he was in Top Gun Maverick, but like
Mhm.
I don't really know him. No, just like yeah, like he's Bob.
Yeah.
Bob, like he, almost
Pullman
immediately, I was just
in
like, oh yeah, he's Bob. This is it. This is the guy.
because Pullman and Tubman wasn't he just that nerd? He
In
wasn't
Top Gun,
like
yeah,
a
yeah,
yeah, he wasn't like a jock or anything
no,
like that, right? Okay, yeah. Because I'm like,
no.
yeah, that's I understand what like that's why I feel like Pullman's better in this role um than Yoon is because I'm like, yeah, no, that the way he did that in Top Gun, I believe that, and then for him to go here is like, yeah, no, this is good casting pivot.
Mm-hmm.
I get why they would want Stephen Yoon, but I'm like, no, this is better.
Because they had to get rid of Io Debris as well.
Yeah, they did.
That sucks. But
Mm.
I like. I think her name's Geraldine. Just I don't remember how to say her last name, but I keep forgetting she's Australian as well. Like she was at Scotiabank last night, like on thing, and I'm like, why is she talking? Oh, she's Australian. Forgot about that.
Mm.
I've only ever seen her play American, but I like her as well, and I don't really know what I would want Io to be in the MCU, but I was like, I don't really want her to just be someone's assistant. So this was this was
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we'll see where Stephen Yeun shows up if he
I,
does show up again. Because
you know where I do think he's going to show up?
oh yes, I know what you're gonna say. Go for it.
You think okay.
I know what you're gonna say. Go for it.
Yeah,
Say.
I think he's gonna be Beyonder.
Oh no, I thought you were gonna say Mr. Negative. Fair enough.
Oh no, I do not think he's gonna be Mr. Negative. I do not.
Well, I'm glad I let you say it and not me. I think he's
Yeah.
gonna be the Beyonder. Interesting. Uh,
I think he's gonna have a bigger role. I'd like to see him as Beyonder. That would be cool.
well, we'll see. I don't know what they're doing because it seems like
Neither
they're
do
just gonna
I.
do the Doom thing and not. And I know Beyonder is part of that.
Yeah.
I just don't know that they're going to introduce the Beyonder in those movies. So I would
Yeah,
hope
I
that
think
he would,
he's
because he kind of you just have to be done with him after that. So it's like I would want Steven Yeun to be someone who keeps coming back.
Yeah.
But
I don't see Mr. Negative coming back though. That's the other
it's
thing too. I
Spider-Man.
think they're
They
both
always
one
come
and
back.
dones. Yeah, but it's going to be the same significance as Thanos and all that kind of stuff coming
Who
back.
keeps coming back? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
In that sense, where we can still have Beyonder come back in that sense. Maybe
we'll see.
we'll see how it blows all up after
I
this.
don't think they're doing more Beyonder stuff because I think they're like, we need to
Mhm.
get out of this multiversal stuff now.
Yeah, true.
We need to eject. So that's why, even more so, I don't think he would last outside of those two Avenger movies coming up.
I mean, fair, but I did think Beyonder. I was
glad you
not
said
thinking
it.
Mr. Negative
I'm
whatsoever.
glad you said it. Yeah. That is
That's
way
why I'm
more
like,
interesting-
you know what I'm thinking right now? That would be awesome.
way
But,
more
yeah.
exciting casting choice than what I was thinking.
You heard it here first. That's right.
I hope you're right. I mean, I
Wild-
hope he's in
wild
more
swing.
things, but if he's the Beyonder, then that's cool too.
Yeah, I'm just taking a wild swing at this point.
No problem. What else? What else happens in this movie? It's such
The
a
John
tiny-
Walker stuff. I want to hear your thoughts on it because I know my thoughts on it.
Oh yeah, I felt like I already said them. He's they didn't lose sight of him being a shit person, and it ends in the right spot, which is this guy will only ever be successful when he's got his helmet and his shield, and he can't be integrated into real life. So this is just gonna have to be his thing, and his wife and kid are gone. What about you?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I'm like, no, they wrote him well. They didn't try to redeem him. I'm glad they're just like, no, he could just be useful, and this is how they fell into it. It's not that he did something. I mean, it was a good moment for the shot where they pushed the thing over, like you said, with the little girl. Yeah, that's the teamwork thing. But I'm like, that's not a redemption thing. That's just like a shot.
He was always going to be a team player that way.
Yes,
so
yes.
So to your point, I'm not trying to disprove what you're saying. It's just like, he is a team player.
Yeah, they wrote him well in the sense where I'm like, good. They didn't redeem him. They just made him useful, and he failed up. That's why we have to see him again. Sure.
Well, that was as soon as Val got introduced. You're like, oh well, he's not going anywhere because Val. Yeah, I mean, this movie was her trying to kill him, but she's still the one keeping him afloat by making him what she does at the end of the movie that we'll get to. But like, I thought it was well done that way, and I like that they never let him forget that they don't really respect him like that. Like, even when they're technically friends, and he's like, and they're like, and so like the guns you have, he's like, yeah, it's the night. She's like, yeah, so that's long. Is that you like that? He's like, what? She's like, and that hat? And he's like, do you? It's a helmet. Yeah, do you like it? She's like, do you like the hat? And then by the end of the movie, he has a hat instead of the helmet.
Yes. It's really, really good, right? It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I just like that everyone just keeps reminding him that he was not a good Captain America. Like even Val, who set him up for success, was like, no, you suck. You were the bad Captain America.
Yeah, I like what she does. You're like the varsity league Captain America. And I'm like, that was very accurate. It was a nice callback to the fact that you're revealed during a high school football game. You know what I mean?
When he was talking about "Go Bears, go!" and she's like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
I like that when he was like, "I've fought in so many foreign countries. I did this, I did that, and I was like high school champion back to back to back. Go Bears, go!" And she's like, "Yeah, I used to play on a team called the Thunderbolts, and a kid pooed at midfield one time. Does anyone else have any useless bullshit they want to talk about?"
Yeah, I loved it. I love the fact that they kept challenging him. That's what I love to hear. Is okay, good. They didn't redeem him. They just kept shitting on him, and he's just useful, and they're gonna call him out. And it was good because I liked at the end of the movie. I'm like, yeah, keep your comments to yourself. Just whisper them to yourself if you have to say them. Just whisper them to yourself. I'm like, shut up. Shut up. Good. It's good writing around your character. Yes, we can move on now. There's not much more to say.
I really liked that they weren't. They didn't try and save him. They were like, no, we're digging deep into this, but he's here now.
Yeah. We're just moving on with him. It's great.
And yeah, as I said, I liked Red Guardian. I didn't find him annoying
Mm-hmm.
at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, yeah, he just really wants to be with his daughter, and she's rightfully mad at him for leaving her alone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't have to watch the Black Widow movie, but like the main thing that comes out of Black Widow was when she was like telling them, "Please stop acting like this wasn't a real family. Like this was
Yeah.
everything to me." And I like that they kept that going in this movie of like, I lost my sister. I don't even really remember what happened to their mom. Like, did she die in Black Widow? Like, I didn't think
I
she
think
did.
so. I can't remember
It's,
either, to be
that part
perfectly
doesn't
honest with you.
matter. Obviously,
Um,
she only cares about her dad and her sister.
yes, yes. And I do like what you're saying, because like there's that moment during or before the speech where she slips up and actually calls him daddy while she's like crying or something like
Mhm.
that. And
Well,
I'm
she's
like,
calling
yeah,
him
this
dad
is great.
throughout the movie.
Yeah. And I'm just like, no, it's just it's really, really good. It's that whole yeah, we're feeding into this. Yeah, it's real.
Because it's like,
It's great.
you could have stopped me from being in the void,
Hmm.
and I don't mean the literal void in the movie.
Her void
it's
before the movie, her
throughout.
isolation
Yeah,
thing, right?
when she
Yeah.
jumps off the building and she talks
Right.
about feeling like she's in the void, like
Hmm.
you could have stopped that and you didn't. You
Hmm.
just let me be alone.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm a big fan of Yelena, but I just thought that that was the anchor of the movie. To
Hmm.
me, was their relationship in that sense. In a
Hmm.
time where I didn't really want that to be the case, I was like, ugh, not Red Guardian. Because I
Hmm.
think when this was first announced, they're like, it's just a bunch of super soldiers, which doesn't really factor into this movie.
Hmm.
That's not the point of the movie, and I like that. Like, I like that it's like, no, it's a bunch of people who rightfully feel like their past is going to destroy them,
Hmm. Hmm.
and we're
Um,
watching them get through that together.
yeah, yeah, it's a movie that's showing you how shame has held up like distance between people and all that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff, right? And prevented them from reaching, because like the flip could be said true for Yelena reaching out to him and all that kind of stuff, right? I like the fact that they're using Alexei, and this is why it didn't bother me in the sense where I'm like, yeah, he's the old dad figure that doesn't know how to work with his emotions properly and doesn't know what to do, especially because he has the added element of like it was my job, we were spies, like all this kind of
Well,
stuff, and like yeah, she calls me dad and I'll respond, but like I'm not buying Christmas presents every year and all that kind of stuff. Maybe I don't know, right? But
I
the
think it's different actually. I think it's, he wants to be her dad, and he
yeah,
says, "But look at me, I'm a fucking joke. How am I going to
he
be there for you?
wants
I
yeah.
don't want to be this when you
Hmm.
see me. I want to be the Red Guardian. I want to be someone people actually care about,
Yeah.
to live up to." I like that element of Ant-Man as well, which is like,
Hmm.
you got to be the hero your daughter actually thinks you are, and
Right.
he's like, I am not that. Like, I can't, I don't have
Yeah.
that going together. So I do think that they are the two characters that took that bond seriously, which makes
Hmm.
sense. Obviously, Black Widow's dead, but
Hmm.
they are the two characters that took the bond seriously.
Hmm.
And so the hurt, on a regular level, if you take out superpower, superhero stuff, is, it's still his responsibility as the parent to reach out. They're not
Yeah.
friends. Like, that
Hmm.
isn't the dynamic. So it is
Right.
his responsibility to reach
Hmm.
out and keep that going.
Hmm.
So, and I'm like that the movie never pushed back on her when she said, you should have, he knew he was in the wrong, because
He knew.
it's
Yeah.
not buddies. They're not
Yeah.
buddies. It is, you're my dad, and
Right.
he constantly acknowledges, yes, I am. Yeah, I
Right.
am your dad. So that was on him to reach out.
Yeah.
But it's just, he has the shame of like, but I'm a loser. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to help her.
See, that's the thing is, and that's why I like the fact that they're smart to do this movie about mental health the way they are, using the emotions to be the reasons why they've been separated and
Mm-hmm.
isolated, making it worse for each other in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Because the like yes, you could say Elena could speak out, or I could say that, and then you could say also that yes, the Red Guardian should have reached out, not because of the parental role and all that kind of stuff. Both, but it's just they both know what they need, which is that connection. But the shame is holding them back because they don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like they're good enough or worthy. Either way, it's the thing that's holding them apart, which is it's very well done throughout this, and I like that once there is that initial Alexi's like, all right, all on board. Let's like I would expect a lot more people to criticize like what, so Alexei just shows up, and I'm like, well, aside from the movie explaining why he just shows up to pick them up in a
But
limo,
he
it's
didn't
the
wait.
idea that
That's the smart part, is that he got there thinking they hadn't gone in the bunker yet. Like,
yeah
his whole thing was like, "I'm here to save you," and they're like, "We already, like, the worst possible thing already happened. You didn't
yeah
help." And like, obviously he helps because he gets them out of there.
sure
But it is like, you're so late. Like, what are you
yeah.
talking about? Shut up, old
It's
man.
it's nice and comedic, but it's what my point is. It's like, okay, yes, there is that first meeting, and then she just basically like does the Batman exit and just leaves and all that kind of stuff while he's still talking. But then he comes back, he finds a way back. He's like, okay, now that there's contact made, I'm going to try to find my way back to you and
Hmm.
all this kind of stuff. So I love that about the movie. I'm like, okay, good, because sometimes when that awkwardness gets addressed, and it's like it's they're shame holding back. Like, yeah, try to find each other back. It's great. So that this is a really great. Wow, oh God, it's so good. Well done. I can't stop gushing about it. It's
Yeah,
good.
it's a really well done. We haven't talked about Bucky at all. We
At
can get to him
all.
next. We can get to him next.
Yeah.
But like, it's such, like, I just think it's so. I was genuinely surprised at how easy it was for him to flip Mel. I'm not saying that's a flaw. I was just like,
Hmm.
oh no, she's gonna be right or die. But I like that they played her as just a real person. Of like,
Yes.
huh, I guess I am playing for the bad guys. And that Val even pushes like, what did you think the job was gonna be? And she's like,
Yeah.
I genuinely thought you wanted to make things better. Okay, I guess I'm gonna just
Mhm.
roll with Bucky. Like, I genuinely was surprised by that because I
Yeah.
thought she was just gonna like, no, I'm in. I'm working with Val, and then she's throughout the movie is just like, I really do feel like I might be working for the bad guy here. This is pretty bad stuff.
Hmm. Hmm. No, it was really, really, really good. It was really,
And
really good.
obviously, we've, as a podcast and as a
Mhm.
culture, have spent
Mhm.
enough time with Bucky to know what his issues are, and I
Mhm.
like that he's coming into it, as you said, not as one of the people being set up and forced. He's just like, no, I'm gonna bring you guys along so we can just get this thing done.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, oh, Sentry's way more than I could handle. Never mind. Like,
Yeah. It's just a
you just took my
happenstance that they
arm
come
off.
all together.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Um, I know this isn't Bucky related, but I really liked when Val was trying to make her like, I own you, just do what I say. And he's like, well, you said I'm like a god, or
Hmm.
better, and I'm like a god and better than all the Avengers put together, and that team has a god on it. So like, I genuinely don't think I need to listen to you.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is good stuff here.
I
Like,
like that he gets there fast. I
he's just
really
like,
like that
nah,
he gets there fast.
I don't need you, and also they're not a threat, so I don't care about them. Like,
Hmm.
it's not that I'm taking pity on them. It's just like, why would this ever bother me? Like,
Yeah.
I just, they are nothing to me.
Hmm.
I really like that. But yeah, the Bucky stuff. He's more of like a straight man in this. Like, he gets the joke about, well, I had a great past, so this has been great for me. But
Hmm.
he is just like, I don't want to be a congressman. I really just
Hmm.
want to be doing the superhero thing again,
Hmm.
and I guess this is my in. If I had one complaint about the movie, I know you had one already. If I had
Hmm.
one, it was I wanted to complete the handshake and have Sam be in this, even if it was to see their argument over the ending of the movie. It's
Hmm.
like, I just feel like he should have shown up to be like, no, you're not. But they didn't do that. I'm assuming that was a money issue. But
Hmm.
I don't really have any notes other than I wish Sam showed up, especially where this movie ends, which I think we've already hinted at is Val being like, yeah, and these are the new Avengers.
Yeah.
This was my plan the whole time. They saved you. You saw them in action. They're the new Avengers. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
I like how it's just the reveal of everything. It caught me off guard too. I'm like, you got me. You got me. It was good. It was a good moment in the theater.
That's what
Uh
the asterisk is for.
yeah.
They're the Thunderbolts. No, seriously, they're the
It's
new
like,
Avengers.
yeah, they're actually the new Avengers.
I just like that she was like, I'm not calling you the Thunder. Not that she said that out loud in the movie. She's like, what? Your stupid soccer team. No,
Yeah.
this is the new Avengers.
No.
That's what this is.
Yeah, I'm making this decision. Shut up. This is about me.
And this is why I said then Yelena was smart enough to be like, see, you just publicly did that, meaning we own you.
Yeah.
Now you can't really maneuver the way you need to maneuver.
Yep. Yep. You're out in
Uh,
the spotlight now. Your hand's been shown. It's
Yeah,
good.
then I guess Bucky's just like, yeah, I guess I'm a new Avenger, which they have like their cool new outfits with the
Hmm.
new A,
Hmm.
um, which is interesting. But yeah, Bucky is really just there to be like, come on, guys, I know how to be a superhero
I
somewhat.
actually know what to do.
Yeah, but I like that when they're like, so what's the plan? He's like,
Well, him and
just go,
Yelena.
just go there. No, that was Red Guardian be like, yeah, what's the plan?
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, we're gonna go there and
Yeah.
fight. And then when they're fighting in the lobby, she's like, Jesus, guys, I left the doors open for you. Just come up. What are you?
I
You're wasting time.
really,
You're wasting
really
time.
enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. It was really, really good.
Uh, really liked. I just really liked Val throughout. Just
Yeah.
she's just like, no, I thought of that too. I thought of it, and then I think it's really just her pivoting constantly, but still. Uh,
Yes.
it was only when we get to see her shame moment where you're like, oh, there's a human in there somewhere.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I
It
and
was
I
good to see her shame moment. I was gonna say it was a really, really good. I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see why you would be so like,
I'm gonna keep secrets. I'm never gonna I'm
yeah,
never gonna put myself in. I think
yeah.
I already said it, but yeah, she accidentally gave up the location of her dad to a guy that
Yep.
wanted to kill her,
She
kill
learned how
him. Sorry.
important information was.
Hmm. And I like that the movie wasn't like, and now she's seen that. She was just like, even more now. I'm going to like tighten
Yes.
up. Like, I hate that you had that information. The
Yep.
same way when she was about to talk about Bob's dad, he's like, "No, I never said you could have that information." I
Mm,
was just like, all right, they're butting heads there, and then it's less of butting heads later when he's like, oh, you're just nothing to me," and more just like, "I'm gonna kill you now."
mhm.
I genuinely didn't think the kill switch was gonna work. Like when she was like, "Oh yeah, we have a kill switch," and Mel's like, "Yeah, but we got rid of it." She's like, "Then just make a new one." I was like, I just feel like the kill switch won't work, but it did.
Mhm.
The upshot of that is that it released the void, but still, it was just kind of like, oh, I guess she is prepared. Like I didn't think that was gonna work. Like she didn't know the void would come out, but it was just like,
Mhm.
oh wow, that really worked for her. I guess she's
Yeah.
alive, so that's pretty much all she would care about.
Yep. 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 It was, yeah. Yeah, it was good.
Um. So yeah, there's the mid credit scene, which is the Wheaties. That's what Red Guardian wanted. His family and to be on a Wheaties box. And I like that the woman in front of him put the box back.
Hmm.
I was like, you could have just turned the corner, but you're like, no, you're not pressuring me into getting this.
Hmm.
I'm leaving this here. And then the post credit scene, which I saw people be like, this is exactly what people have been waiting for and asking for.
I'm
Finally
like,
shows you where the MCU is going. I'm like,
I,
if I didn't already know what Secret Wars is, which then would have prompted me to understand anytime they said incursion in the last like 6 movies,
Mhm.
this wouldn't make me be like, oh, now I get it. I think what people were really saying was, hey, it's the Fantastic Four. That's
Yeah.
what we wanted. And I'm like, you don't have to lie. Just say you want the cameos.
Well,
This isn't even a cameo. It's just the Fantastic Four spaceship. But like, just admit that you weren't actually watching these movies to like learn what the story was. You just wanted to be like, hey, these people are here.
right. And I think so. Here's my take on that is I think for a long time they were looking for a post-credit scene to be actually exciting. Like I think they were complaining about the formula, and this was actually exciting in the sense where it wasn't just yeah, Fantastic Four is coming because I'm like, who doesn't know that by now? They had
I
the
don't know,
trailer
man. Like
before the thing.
having Blade at
It's
the
the
end of
idea.
a post credits pretty cool too. That's
That's a cool.
exciting.
No, that's a really
It
cool
didn't pay
thing.
off, but
I'm just saying
that was
what my
exciting.
yeah, my point is just they're giving you a lot more information within just the dialogue and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, oh yeah, we got this situation now where there's like two teams. Like so I think like that's why it's like, okay, it's just a lot more information to dig into and it does excite you about something that they already know is coming. I just think if that's what they really
I guess
mean as
I would
opposed
say that
to
it's what
yeah,
they already know is coming because
yeah,
again, Shang-Chi was talking about the team and how
yeah.
that's being put together. There's there's so many examples of other movies doing this,
Hmm.
and I think people were just happy they saw the Fantastic Four spaceship because
Yeah,
there's this isn't the first time since Endgame that they've had this type of experience in a post credit scene.
sure. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I did just like that. Rick Guardian's like, Sam is a silly man. He's litigious, but he's silly. We're just gonna call ourselves Avengers with his head. Like,
Yeah. I like how he's
don't worry, I
like,
got it.
I'm just gonna copyright our own brand, and
And I
it'll be
like when she's
fine.
like, and now we've got space issues, and U.S. agents like, how could we already have space issues? This place is huge. She's like,
Yeah.
outer space, outer space.
Yeah. It's so dumb.
It's a fun post credit scene. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like,
Yeah.
this. I don't think if they didn't put that Fantastic Four ship in there, I don't think people would be praising the post credit scene.
I would agree with you as
Because,
well.
as I said, all of the information they give you is stuff that has been said in other post credit scenes. I'm not saying this exact information, but the same idea of building out the concept of what the Avengers will look like later, and hey, we got to deal with this because of incursion. Like all of that stuff has already been talked about.
Right.
It's just they put a Fantastic Four spaceship in it.
Yeah.
And I will say it was annoying to know that's what was going to happen because when the music credits were going, they put the Fantastic Four theme song as a credit. I'm like, oh, well then
they're gonna have it in
I
the
know
thing.
what's gonna happen. I know what everyone's excited about now. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't smart enough to pay attention like that, I will say. So it caught me completely off guard and I was like, "Oh, yay. I knew that already. It's great."
Well, I was just desperate to be like, who did the score? Because I love the score.
Score is great. It's great.
It's the same
such a
people
good
who did
score.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
So I guess I'm just fans of Sun Lux now.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I love the score so much for this movie. Yeah, I feel like, is there more to talk about?
I legitimately don't think there is. I think we talked about Ghost the right amount, and that's like my only smudge on this movie is like, yeah, they really didn't focus on Ghost very much. He just disappeared in and out literally throughout the whole movie.
I agree that they don't focus on her, but I like that they keep her in play. Like, as in,
yes,
there's more story for her now that she's part of this team. I think it would have been very easy to kill her off like Taskmaster and just be like, yeah, she was there.
Yeah.
Or have her turn bad and then they have to like I like that, like, no, she's a part of this now. Because of her backstory that we got, and again, we got everyone's backstory already. That was I think the smart thing about this movie that I think Eternals suffered from was they're putting a team together, but it's people that we already have some familiarity with and to a large extent already know their backstory and their deal. You might have forgotten some details about Ghost, but she gets through it pretty quickly. It was like, oh, I'm sorry that I grew up and I like she gives you her backstory right away, but you also just know that already about her, so you can just enjoy the dynamics of them together. Whereas Eternals tried to do everything in one, and I was like, this is just too many new people. I wish this was a show, so
can't do it.
Time with them, and I saw other people saying it didn't feel like a crossover movie, which I agree with. It just was like, yeah, we're just with characters we already know, and we don't have to worry about that baggage, and so we can just thoroughly enjoy the experience. So I thought that worked well, but I would agree with you. They don't give a lot to Ghost in terms of like she doesn't get a shame room thing, or she doesn't get. But I don't know what you would see. Like I don't know what you would see that would make any sense because you already know what her deal is from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
She tells you.
I liked the idea that they kept her in play, and I was excited that they were putting her in this movie, and I like that she's going to be in Doomsday.
Yeah,
I remember there was one point where they're like, no, they wrote her out of the movie, but then they put her back in. So I think having all of that knowledge, I was like, I'm just happy she's still in play. Because I find her to be interesting.
Yes.
But you're right that they didn't do, like, I would say her and Bucky kind of just are like, the movies is like, you know them.
Yeah.
You know
that's basically the attitude. And I'm like, I get it. Yeah. And they rightfully focused on the right characters and without having too much of the attention on Red Guardian and Yelena, like the rewrites did. Like they did a really, really good job balancing this whole movie because it was smart to be like, yeah, you know, Bucky, this is how he's related to this whole thing. Great. And then with they focused their attention well. I think the great thing about this not feeling like a crossover movie or anything like that is because none of them really had their own movie. They just were sidekicks of other movies. So that's why I'm like, this is a bunch of people I'm like that you would, for me, I'm like, I didn't expect them to be in in the spotlight
Mm-hmm.
in such an effective capacity together. And it worked really, really well. And it got me with the whole like theme. Just like, I'm like, oh, this movie is about mental health. I'm all on board. They're
And yeah, I
doing a
didn't get
really
that
good
from
exploration.
I didn't get that from the trailers.
None of it. None of it. But the moment when I realized what it was, I'm like, oh, that's why they did it with the A24 link with some of the marketing that they
Yeah,
did.
I
I'm
think
like,
they did a
cool.
good job marketing this movie.
They
It's
did.
in that respect.
Mhm.
Um, only because they delivered. Like it was like, oh no, like
Yeah,
they
it's
can talk they
true.
can
They
talk shit
didn't.
because they're gonna deliver.
Yeah,
Especially the A24 stuff. It was just like, well, I
yeah,
don't know, man. Like this is I I'm not saying this is gonna win over people who don't like the MCU.
right.
I don't think it transcends that way.
No, it
I
doesn't.
think it's just really well made.
Hmm.
If you take out my affinity for the MCU, I
Hmm.
think you could watch this, and like I said, there's moments where you're just in it with the characters that would make it a fun watch at the very least.
Yep.
I think I shouldn't say fun. I think it would make it an engaging watch. I
Yes.
think you would be engaged regardless, and then you could just be like, yeah, whatever. It's just superhero bullshit. But I think it's really well done.
Hmm. Hmm. No, it's yeah, I would agree with you. It's incredibly well done. I think pacing of the movie's good. I think that the span of the movie's good. Like, yeah, it's literally a weekend and they're just like stuck together trying to figure out the next steps. It's a great premise for how they all like, it's originally that speculation of like, oh, they're all hired to do this thing. I'm like, nah, that's not it. And they even show you in the marketing stuff. And like it's really well marketed, it's really well done, and yeah, it's wonderful because I'm like, this is great that the movie shows you so much of the third act in the marketing without showing you what the giveaway actually is.
Mm-hmm.
They did really well because that was really effective for me.
Yeah, and I think, as I said, they got the Thunderbolt stuff
Hmm.
down without it being a team led by Baron Zemo. Like I agreed with
Yeah,
people being like, you can't really do that in a movie where everyone knows these actors. Like
yeah,
you'd have to attach actor names to it, so you couldn't surprise people with, oh, what, that was really Yelena the whole time. It would be like, well, I know Florence Pugh is in this movie, and I know Florence Pugh. So I think they just did the right thing of being like, look, it's going to be people who
mhm,
have issues, and we're going to work through them with these people. With Yelena's big thing of like, I want to be a hero.
mhm.
That is what I want. I loved like the close up on her at the end when they said she's you're the new
Yeah,
Avengers, and she just closes her eyes and it's like she can be seen and she's with people. She's not alone anymore.
yeah, yeah. It reminds me of the ending of Buffy, how there's that zoom in and then like the beginning of like a full on accepting I'm excited for this, and like
Hmm.
it, and it doesn't let you fully get there. It's a really, really great moment. It reminded me of that, and I'm like, they did really good with this movie
Yeah,
because that was really, really effectively well done. Is the idea of like, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. It's a
she
hell of
got
a
it.
weekend, but I
She
got it.
worked for it.
Yeah.
She got it. All right, you want to rate the movie?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a 9. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. This is a 9.5 for me.
Nice,
Yeah.
awesome. All right, well, thank you very much for listening, everybody. Please go to tdfeverything.com/spoiledrotten. You'll find all of our old episodes. You can also go to any podcast platform of your choice. Rate, review, subscribe, follow, share with your friends. If you don't see us on your podcast platform of choice, get in touch with us. Our email is spoiledpodcast@gmail.com. We are at TDF Spoiled on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube. So get in touch, and we'll be back. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
This has been a TDF Everything production, brah.